Good morning, one and all. My name is Ramesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. In this semester, I am handling Electrical Machines 1 for second BTech first semester students. So before going to the discussion of Electrical Machines 1, so in day-to-day life, so we are more linking with the machines. So just like motors, generators, transformers. So these are very need to in our lives. So that's why in this semester we are discussing about the Electrical Machines 1. It consists of 6 units. So first unit is DC machines. So it has construction of DC machines, electromechanical energy conversions. So these two topics is to be discussed in first unit. In the second unit, DC motors as well as starting and control of DC motors is to be discussed. Third unit is transformers. So transformer 1. So another unit is transformer 2. So third one is three-phase transformers. So these are the units is to be discussed in Electrical Machines 1. So these are the basic or core subjects of second year students. Now all of you know he was a great scientist, Michael Faraday. So he was born or lived in between 1791 to 1867. So contributions to early electricity includes, so which is invention of motor, generators, transformers, electromagnetic induction, and finally laws of electrolysis. So these are all invented by Michael Faraday. So that's why he is a god of science or father of electrical engineering. So Michael Faraday is a father of electrical engineering. So because of he was invented motor, generator, transformer, electromagnetic induction, and finally laws of electrolysis. Laws of electrolysis. So based on the operations, Faraday's gives two laws. So Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law. So Faraday's first law, so which states that, so whenever the conductor cuts magnetic flux, whenever the conductor cuts magnetic flux, a dynamically EMF is induced in the conductor. So that means when we are considered as a coil, so we are placing a permanent magnet, so which is north pole and south pole, so which is to be moving inside the coil. So because of which is a hollow coil, hollow conductor. So permanent magnet is to be moving inside the coil. So this magnet is to be generates the magnetic lines of forces. Those lines cut by the conductor, it induces an EMF. So that statement is to be given by Faraday's first law. So whenever the permanent magnet is to be moving nearer to the hollow conductors, so this conductor cuts the magnetic field, it induces an EMF. So in this also magnet is to be moving inside the coil, so which is to be deflected. That statement is to be given by Faraday's first law. Second one is Faraday's second law. So in this, the magnitude of the EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linkages. So the magnitude of EMF is directly proportional to rate of change of flux linkages d psi by dt. So which is equal to E is equal to N into d phi divided by dt. d phi by dt. E is equal to N into d phi by dt. So this is the Faraday's gives second law. The magnitude of the EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linkages. So in this we are considered as a magnet, permanent magnet, so which is to be considered as a less number of turns, 1 and 2. So we are moving, our magnet is to moving either upward direction or downward direction. So the flux cut by the conductors are very small. So because of which is having less number of turns. So that's why which is always induces an EMF is also small voltage. So when we are considered as a large number of turns, so that means 4 turns. So in the similar fashion, which is also moving upward and downward direction, so which is also a conductor cuts the flux, it induces an EMF, so which is to be denoted by, which is represented as medium voltage. In case of a large number of turns, n turns is to be considered corresponding permanent magnet is to be moving inside the coil, which is also cuts the flux. It induces an EMF, which is the large voltage. So this statement is also given by Faraday's second law. So the magnitude of the EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linkages. So third one is Lenz's law. The direction of an EMF is such that it will always opposes change in that is causing it. So when we are considered as a coil, so we are placing permanent magnet north pole and south pole, which is always moving inside the coil. So based on the flux cut by the conductors, it induces an EMF, which is to be measured by voltmeter. So in this, whenever the EMF induced in a coil is always opposes the main cause of producing it. Whatever the parameter is to be generated with the help of flux. So generated parameter is always opposes the main parameter. So that means permanent magnet is always having the magnetic field. So that field cut by the conductor, so it induces an EMF. That EMF is always opposes the magnetic flux. So this is the Lenz's law. So the direction of an induced EMF is such that it will always opposes the change that is causing it. So that is the Lenz's law. So next one is Fleming's right hand rule. So whenever a conductor moves inside a magnetic field, there will be an induced current in it. So these the forefinger, middle finger and thumb. So these three are in right angle directions. So in this, forefinger is always indicated as a direction of magnetic field. So which is always moving from north pole to south pole. Second one is thumb. Thumb indicates the direction of or movement of conductor. So which is moving either upward direction or downward direction. But in this, we are moving, our conductor is to be moving upward direction. So middle finger is always gives the direction of current. Middle finger is always gives the direction of current. So in this, direction of current is to be decided by the Fleming's right hand rule. Fleming's right hand rule. So the principle or Fleming right hand rule is to be used for the generator. Is to be used for the generator. So that is the Fleming right hand rule. Another one is Fleming left hand rule. Fleming left hand rule. So whenever a current carrying conductor, is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force due to the magnetic field. So in this left hand, three fingers, thumb, forefinger, middle finger. So these three are represented in 90 degrees. So then forefinger is always indicated as direction of magnetic field. So thumb or middle finger indicates the direction of current in the conductor. So then thumb indicates the direction of force. So based on the thumb direction, conductor is to be moving from one position to another position based on the representation of thumb. So this is to be given by the Fleming's left hand rule. So before going to the construction of DC machine, first of all we know the basics of electrical machines one. So Faraday's gives two laws, first law and second law, Lenz law, Fleming left hand rule and right hand rule. So then, we have to go for construction of a DC machine. So which is mainly consists of seven parts. So one is yoke frame, poles and pole shoe. Third one is armature core, armature winding and field winding, commutator, brushes and shaft. So these are the main parts of a DC machine. So which is common parameters of either DC generator or DC motor. So first one is, this one is the yoke. So second one is, this portion is the poles. Third one is pole shoe. Armature core. This is the armature core. So another one, field winding. These are the field winding. Commutator. Brushes. Finally shaft. So if you have to explaining each and every part. So first one is yoke or frame. So yoke or frame is the outer frame of a DC generator. So which is always serves two purposes. So one is protection of entire components or internal components of the DC machine. Second one is it carries the magnetic field flux. So that's why which is always serves two functions. So one is it holds the pole cores as well as it carries the magnetic field flux. So in this yoke or frame. So this is the yoke or frame. So in this, when we are considered as a 4-pole machine, the flux is to be provided in this path. The return path of the in between the poles is to be existing inside the yoke. So that's why it carries the magnetic field flux. Another one is which is always provide the protection of internal components of the DC machine. Internal components of the DC machine. So another one is it holds the pole cores. It holds the pole cores. So this one is the yoke car frame. So which is always serves two purposes. One is protection of internal components of the machine. Second one is it carries the magnetic field flux in between the poles. In between the poles. Second one is poles and pole shoes. Poles and pole shoes. Poles are joined to the yoke with the help of bolts or welding. Bolts or welding. So initially we are considered as a yoke car frame. Yoke car frame. So in this, so second one is the poles. So which is to be directly fixed to the outer or inner surface of the yoke car frame. So which is either bolt system or welding. So based on the capacity of a DC machine, large rating of machines we are using bolt system. For small rating of machines we are using welding. So another one is pole shoes, which is always serves again two functions. So one is they support field coils, spread out the flux in the air gap uniformly. So in this pole core, so corresponding pole shoe. So these are the pole shoe. So which is always carries the field winding. So which is the field winding? This one is field winding, which is always supports the field coils. Field coils are not moving downward, which is always supports the, this one is the pole shoe. This one is pole shoe. So which is always supports the field coils, spread out the flux in the air gap uniformly. So because of, so another one, second pole, the flux is to be circulated in between these two. So corresponding pole shoes is always reduced as the spacing between the two poles. So then only uniformly flux is to be distributing between these two with the help of pole shoes. So which is always serves two purposes. They support field coils, spread out the flux in the air gap uniformly with the help of pole shoes. With the help of pole shoes. Another one is field winding. Another one is field winding. So in this, field winding is always wounded on the pole cores. Wounded on the pole cores. They are usually made up of copper. They are usually made up of copper. So field coils are placed on the surface of pole cores. Each pole are connected in series. All field poles. So for example, DC machine is to be consists of a 4-pole machine. So which is each pole carries the field winding. So these 4 field coils are connected in series. Are connected in series. Are connected in series. These 4 coils are connected in series. When energized, they form alternate north pole and south pole. When energized, for example, so these two terminals are coming out of the field winding because of the output terminal, or so like this again, which is to be connected. So these are all series. So plus and minus. So these two terminals are directly given to the voltage. So field winding is to be energized. So which is to be generates the alternate north pole and south pole. So one is north pole, another one is south pole, north pole and south pole. So based on the direction of current flowing through the field coils, so corresponding polarities is to be generated. Corresponding polarities is to be generated. So this is the field winding. Another one is armature core. Another one is armature core. Armature core consists of slotted soft iron laminations. A bunch of sheets is to be formed together to form a armature core. So which is to be consists of slots as well as teeth. So these are the teeth. So these are the 8 ducts. So during the continuous operation of a armature, temperature of the sheets is to be increases. Temperature of the armature is to be increases. So then, which is having some holes, corresponding air is to be circulating through the air ducts or air holes. Then temperature is to be reduces during the running condition. During the running condition, the thinner laminations, greater is the resistance offered to the induced EMF. Induced EMF. Smaller the current and lesser the I square or losses in the core. If you have to designing of a armature core, so these sheets is to be laminated. These sheets is to be laminated. So we can laminating these two sheets, we can reduce the eddy current losses. We can reduce the eddy current losses. So then only we are laminating the armature core. Armature core. So another one is armature winding. Armature winding. So which is the slots of the armature core holds insulated conductors. Holds insulated conductors. So this is known as a armature winding. There are two types of armature windings. One is lap winding, another one is wave winding. Small rating of machines. Small rating of machines, we are using lap winding. For large rating of machines, we are using wave winding. So in this, lap winding is a number of conductors are joined together. Number of conductors are joined together. Like this. Like this. So, but in case of a wave winding, which is only having two parallel paths, continuously, So these are the armature windings. So these are the teeths and slot area, slot space. So conductors are always placing on the slots. Those conductors are not coming out of the armature core. We are placing this portion. We are occupying this one. So another one is, this one is the commutator. Finally, bearing system, which is to be easily rotating by the primora shaft. So these are the armature winding. So based on the rating of machines, we are using lap winding and wave winding. In case of a lap winding, number of parallel paths is always equal to number of poles existing in a DC machine. Second one is wave winding. Number of parallel paths is always equal to 2. So any type of machine, we are using A is equal to 2. So because of lap winding is applicable for high voltage and low current. But in case of a wave winding, low voltage and high current. So based on the requirement of these two parameters, we are using either lap winding or wave winding. So these are the armature winding. Another one is commutator. So in this, it is a cylindrical structure made up of copper segments. So copper segments are number of slots in a armature. Is always equal to number of segments in a commutator. So copper segments stacked together but insulated from each other by mica material. Each and every segment is to be separated by a mica material. So these are the mica materials, which is to be acts as a insulating materials. So then it collects the current from the armature conductors. So during the running condition, armature is to be continued, so which is to be induces an EMF. That EMF is to be collected by the commutator. So that current, alternating current induced in the armature circuit is converted into unidirectional current. So for example, DC machine is always generates alternating supply. So during the commutator, which is always converted into negative cycle, is also converted into positive cycle, which is called as a unidirectional voltage, unidirectional current. The function of commutator is which is to be converted into AC to DC. So that means negative cycle is also present in positive side. Yes. So brushes are made up of carbon or graphite structures. So making sliding contact over the rotating commutator. So in this, these are the commutator. So which is always attached by the two brushes. So which is brush 1 and brush 2. So whenever the armature current is to be collected by the commutator, so which is to be converted into unidirectional current, so by using commutator, so which is directly or converted into, which is to be directly delivered to external load circuit. So with the help of brushes, which collects the current from the commutator and make it available to the stationary circuit. Stationary circuit means external load circuit. So these are the construction of DC machine. So first one is yoke or frame. Second one is poles and pole shoes. Third one is armature, core and armature winding. Fifth one is field winding. And sixth one is commutator. And last one is brushes. So yoke or frame is always serves two functions. Poles and pole shoes also serves two functions. Armature core and winding, field winding, commutator and brushes. So these are the construction of DC machine. So next class we are discussing about the principle of operation of DC generator. Thank you. The summary of today class is, so we are discussing about the introduction. Second one is construction. So in this instruction, Faraday's gives two laws. Faraday's first law and second law. Faraday's first law states that whenever a conductor cuts magnetic field, it induces an EMF. Second law states that the magnitude of induced EMF is directly proportional to rate of change of flux linkages. So third one is Lenz's law, Fleming's left hand rule, Fleming's right hand rule. So these are the introduction part. Next one is construction. So which is mainly consists of yoke or frame. Second one is poles and pole cores. Third one is armature core and winding. Armature winding. Field winding. And sixth one is commutator. And finally brushes. So first one is yoke car frame, which is always serves two functions: protection of internal component DC machine. Second one is the magnetic flux path is to be provided in between the poles. Second one is poles and pole shoes. So poles and pole shoes. Poles are always carries the field winding. Poles are always carries the field winding, which is to be fitted to the inner surface of the yoke car frame with the help of bolts or welding. Pole shoes is always supports the field winding, and which is always provides the uniform air gap flux in between the poles. Next one is armature core and armature winding. Armature core or a bunch of sheets is to be formed together to form a armature core, which is having number of slots and armature teeth. So in these slots, which is always occupied by the armature winding. In this slot, armature winding is to be occupied. So another one is field winding. So which is always outer surface of the poles. Outer surface of the poles, which is made up of copper. So commutator. So whenever the EMF or current is to be generated in a armature, that current is to be directly collected by the commutator. So which is to be converted into AC to pulsating DC or unidirectional DC. Finally, brushes. Brushes are made up of graphite or carbon. So the commutator or which is to be converted into DC, which is to be directly collected by the brushes and delivered to external load circuit. So these are the main parts of a DC machine. Thank you.